We are. Okay, and welcome to the Reframe What's Possible live with myself, Jessica Shillingford, and our guest speaker, Dr. Allie Williams. So, Dr. Allie is a 3-5 self-projected projector and a naturopathic doctor licensed in Arizona. She helps patients improve their health so that they can live passionate, vibrant lives and pursue their passions without their health holding them back. She works with patients in office and online all over the world as a naturopathic consultant. She uses social media to spread the message about naturopathic medicine, healing, and supporting people to live healthier lives. She's most active on TikTok, where she has 42,000 followers and attracts her ideal clients. The goal of this call is to share her insights as a projector so that you can be successful online as yourself and attract your ideal clients so that you can serve in a bigger way. So let's introduce today's theme. Today's theme is about how projectors can be successful as themselves online. We will briefly probably touch on parts of her chart, but that will be mainly done tomorrow in the case study analysis, where we're going to really go deep and look at how everything aligns and why it works so well. So, Dr. Allie, thank you for being here.
Hi, happy to be here.
Tell us who you are and what your work is all about.
Sure. So, I think the introduction pretty much told you most of what I do, but I am a naturopathic doctor. I'm licensed in Arizona. I do work with people both in Arizona and then all over the world. And really simply put, as I help people get optimally healthy. So as a naturopathic doctor licensed in Arizona, I'm trained as a primary care physician, but then I also offer naturopathic aspects of things. So like nutrition counseling, lifestyle counseling. I even talk about like breath work, herbs, etc., all of my patients so that they get a really integrative approach so that they can heal.
Yeah. And I want to talk about this a little bit tomorrow, but we'll touch on it now. So as a 3-5, you are here to transform and to look at and to create alternative ways of being. And what I love about your work is that you actually bring in alternative methods such as breath work, so a holistic approach. And as a 5 line, you are here to have a massive message and to support humanity to see a new way. How do you think you do that in your work?
So when you say that, I think when I had a session with you separately, I never really thought of myself as doing that, but it kind of aligns with everything that I naturally do. And we've talked before about when my patients come in, I'm very good at picking up on like their unique gifts and what it is that they uniquely need to offer the world or that they have to offer, or maybe are not fulfilling it. And that affects their health. So that's kind of partly what I do is, are you living your passion? Are you not living your passion? Do you feel stuck? And then why is that in turn affecting your sleep and your hormones and like a variety of different things? So yeah, I guess to mirror that, you're correct.
Yeah, so for you as well, you have a defined G center and your throat is defined, which means that you're here to direct people and give them guidance, and communication is something that is really natural to you. But as you said, like when you're very intuitive and you have everything else in your chart is open, so you're able to pick up on nuance and things that other doctors may not be so big to do. So the
benefit is that my visits are longer, right? So new patient visits 90 minutes, follow-ups are like an hour. So I get to spend time building that relationship and learning about them.
So what's really interesting is that as we jumped on, you said, I don't usually go live, I usually pre-record. Tell us about that.
I think that's just kind of how I always have done it. Like things will pop in my head and they'll be like, oh, I'll just record it and then kind of do that. But yeah, I just haven't really done lives very often, mostly because 1, I'm busy, and 2, I'm not really sure the ideal time to do it. Not to say that I won't, but this is so hi to everybody. This is the first time I've been live.
Okay. Yeah. And why did you choose TikTok?
So I actually, let me circle back. So when I first started social media, I had just finished my residency. So I had been like a baby doctor for 2 years and just finished my residency, finished that. And I was figuring out what I wanted to do next, whether I wanted to work with a clinic that would like feed me patients or if I wanted to kind of go solo. So I had started on Instagram, actually, is when I started in like the fall of 2019. And then I was like working on that for several months, including Facebook, started a website, etc. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I went to a whole bunch of different platforms telling me what to do and how to be and how to like bulk batch things. And then you have to post this at this time. And then you have to say it this way. And then this has to be your hook. And I was like, oh Lord, like that's just so overwhelming. And then like my practice developed, and then I eventually figured things out. So I started with just, I don't know if I'm giving you like way too much information, but I started with just like posting words and texts and pictures and like a lot of things for people to read. But unfortunately, like very few people will actually read all of that information. So eventually Instagram Reels came out and I started filming myself. And it's so funny. I have a good friend and colleague at a previous clinic I was at. She's an esthetician. And we would get together and have like little powwows to build our businesses. And she's like, hey, like we really need to do Instagram Reels. And the first time she said that, I was like, no, like I'm not filming myself. I'm not doing this. I'm behind the scenes. I'm never going to do that. And then like a week later, I was like, she's right. So that's kind of how that started. So that was probably, I don't know, like 2021 when I actually started to do that. I don't know the timelines correctly. And then that started progressing things while I was on Instagram. And then eventually I just skipped over to TikTok. And that was actually probably May 2022 that I skipped over to TikTok. Well, not skipped, I just like joined TikTok in addition to Instagram. And probably like within a month, I had a viral reel that had like 2.5 million views. And then that propelled me forward. And I will say that if people are listening to this and thinking that it's all about the views, it isn't really all about the views. Like 2.5 million people, that's great. And I'm glad that they're learning about naturopathic medicine. But if you're trying to get people to come see you, it's not necessarily the amount of views, it's the proper people that need to see it. Like some of the videos, I treat a lot of urinary tract infections, for example, and I have a couple videos where I've posted about that and maybe they're at like 1,000 views, but I get a lot of patients from those videos in part because that's exactly what that person needs to see. And they're like, oh, she's the perfect doctor for me. I'm going to see her. Hopefully that kind of helps, I guess, show my progression. And then since then I've had several other reels that are not reels, TikToks that went viral. And then that is kind of how I kept growing.
I think that's really important. So number one, you're talking about having a really specific problem that your ideal clients have and that they can identify and then be able to reach out to you because they can see that you're the authority and you're somebody they can trust to work with. But as a projector, you know that we're here to guide and we're here to be recognized and then invited. So for us, we have to find a platform or a way of being visible. I want to expand on what you said a minute ago as well about how do you create a way that feels, why is it that videos feel particularly good for you? That so that you are being able to create prolifically, because you do, in alignment with your energy.
Yeah, sure. Like I said, when I first started this, I felt so awkward. And I think I copied a lot of things in the beginning, not like copied people, but like Instagram Reels was initially, like a fun music and then like people pointing out things. And I tried that and I was like, I just felt so awkward because it didn't feel like me, but I was learning. And then I think with anything with social media or marketing yourself is you kind of have to learn what works for you. So that's why I say like, be authentic to yourself. If there's like a generator watching this, for example, they might feel good sitting down for 2 hours and batching a whole bunch of videos and then like slowly posting them. That's just not my style. I make a video, I post it, I'm like, best of luck to you, little video. I hope the right people see it. And then that's it. But I think for me, I just talk to people or have videos just like I talk to my patients. And the truth, like how I am on these videos is how I am with my patients. Like what you see is what you get when you come into my office. And I think that that's really been helpful. So I try to be genuine and who I am and just like I talk to my patients. So I just made a video, I think yesterday, on why zebras don't get ulcers. And that's an analogy that I told a lot of patients that day. And I was like, you know what, I'll make a TikTok because other people might find this helpful on how to regulate their nervous system.
Fantastic.
Does that answer your question? Yeah,
that's brilliant. And what's also really important to mention is that Dr. Allie has the channel 1 to 8 defined. And and that's the design of a creative role model. So for you, one of the most important things for people with that 1 to 8 is being authentic, not having a goal and just being themselves, and that will actually naturally magnetize people to them. But the other thing is having that throat defined in your G center is again a point of power for you. So it's very it's again, it's videos is actually a very aligned method for you to use, as opposed to just writing. Like you showing up on camera is part of the reason why the TikToks go viral or the videos are seen so widely.
And that may be why I don't always go live, because maybe I like, usually I like to film something and then re-listen to be like, okay, that is how I wanted to convey that. It was like for the most part, that's kind of how I do things. And then if it isn't how I wanted to convey it, then I'll delete it and film it again. But for the most part, like they're just all in one take. Like I don't do a whole bunch of takes. I typically don't have anything written down. I just say what I need to say, and then make sure it's what I wanted to post and then just go for it.
Yeah. And you're somebody who embodies their mission and their vision really, really well. What would you say your big message is? What is your overarching message?
To patients or people or?
People and patients.
Oh, shucks, I feel like this is a bit a weight on my shoulders. What is the big message I want to say to the world? I think the biggest thing is that so many people don't realize that their health impacts everything. You know, like if you don't feel mentally clear, you might not make the most optimal decisions for yourself. Or if you feel super anxious all the time, you may not go out for opportunities that would really serve you and really like open your eyes and life up to like really good things. Or if you constantly have GI issues and like you're running to the bathroom all the time, like there's just so many things that your health impacts. And if that's optimized, then you don't know what you're capable of. Like you're capable of so many amazing things, and just tweaking those things opens so many doors. I guess that's kind of what I would say.
But one of the
Then
things,
my job.
yeah,
Oh,
no, no, it's fine. I was gonna say one of the things I hear you say a lot is I want to see us win. I want to see us win.
Yeah, I really do. I see helping my patients win is like helping the world win. I jokingly say that I want to save the whales, but I'm not a marine biologist and I'm not going to be on a boat because like I just don't want I don't want to do that. I'm scared of being in the ocean like that. But one day I think that there might be a marine biologist that I'm supposed to help, and like I play a small role in their life and I help them and then they save the whales. But I just really believe in the interconnectedness of all of us. So yeah, and I want everybody to win. Yeah, it's that simple.
What advice would you give other projectors looking to build their authority online?
Yeah, so things that I have learned is trust that you have an inner knowing of what works and what you want to present. I think it's worth trying what other people are doing in the beginning so that you can try like what works for you. You know, like I said in the beginning, I did the reels with dancing and pointing, and occasionally I'll bring those back just because if you have something that's 15 seconds or less and people have a shorter attention spans, then you can like drive things up in the algorithm. But try those things and maybe you really like that. Like for me personally, it's not something that I love doing, but if you have that vibe or you have like things that you want to say and just point, then that's totally fine. But try things out that other people are doing, see what works for you and see what doesn't. And then just to like check in what your unique message is and just be true to that. And I think we talked before when we did a session is that I have to be very true to myself. And then if I'm not in line with that, then I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's a couple of key takeaways that we've got so far. Number one, having a really clear, strong message, something that you stand for. And this is really powerful in her work. Dr. Allie stands for something. It's consistent throughout all of her messaging. So the second thing that we've taken away so far is the importance of speaking to the problem that your ideal client has, or producing content that serves and provides value. So at least people can recognize that you're somebody that they can invite and go to. So that's two things. And again, authenticity. Like, so for us, authenticity is going to be important for everybody, but depending on our charts and our unique stories, it's going to show up differently for some people are better with the written word, some people are better with the spoken communication, which is definitely you. The word consistency, this comes up a lot for us as projectors, and you've already said you don't like to batch record, doesn't feel good to you, it doesn't feel nice, and you like to show up in a moment. And again, deeply aligned with your chart, your pulse, your mutation, you're about in the moment awareness, and so am I as a 3-line, and there's various other things in the chart. But people are always talking about we have to be consistent. Now, I used to think it was a generator thing, but what does this phrase, what does being consistent on social media mean for you? Because it's not just a generator thing, there's a lot of nuance to this.
I'm like, oh shucks, I feel like that's a can of worms. I don't know. It's like I said in the beginning, consistency did help. So I will be honest about that. And I'll also be honest that I do have a recovering hustle mindset. And I don't know if that's like my Americanness or like something in my chart. I guess you can tell me tomorrow. But I do sometimes have like a very let's get it all done mentality, and then I rest. It's like I get really fired up and I do a whole bunch of stuff, and then I'm like, okay, I'm cool, and then I just don't do anything. But for social media in the beginning, so if you're just starting out, it is helpful to be consistent. And I think in part it's helpful to be consistent because you're learning what is important to you and how you want to convey it. Like the more and more that you produce content or make a video or write stuff for people to see, you're also learning about how you want to present yourself. Like maybe you have an idea, but the more and more you do it and then sometimes get feedback from people, I think that that does help you. But on TikTok, for example, I think in part, I mean, granted, nobody really knows how the algorithm works. I think people are always guessing. For me, I'm just over it. Like I'm going to post it. If people listen, great. If it only gets 20 views, that's 20 more than zero. And maybe those 20 were exactly who needed to hear it. And that's also my mentality. Like it's great when there's a lot of people that see it and resonate with the message. And I'm really appreciative of that. But at the same time, I always say to myself, even if one person, like if only one person sees this video and that is exactly the person that needed to see it, then it's worth, putting out there. I feel like I'm going on a tangent. But consistency in the beginning, I think is really helpful. And it is helpful on TikTok. So when you post at least once a day or a couple times per day, it does help, especially with the algorithm, because it knows you're active on the app. And the whole point is that they want you to be active on the app.
I think you've just picked up on a couple of really important things. One of them is about giving with love, like showing up and expressing yourself from the pure like love and joy of doing it, not with not with an end goal and not with a name or any attachment to the outcome. So I think that is one really important key for all projectors and probably anybody else. For me, I just want to talk about consistency from my perspective. I think you're right. Like I think you're able to do that because you found your purpose. Like you have a message, you've got a skill set and a career path that allows you to be able to have millions of topics that you can speak about. Now, when I was an English teacher, I would have been able to be consistent in the topics. But so I think what's important on one level is where you're at in your business or in your niche or your expertise, like where you're at before you can be consistent. So that's one thing. But there are many different ways that we can show up online and connect and nurture our clients and our soulmate people without showing up every day. But you also mentioned something about showing up when you have the energy for it. That's a projector thing. So we have that inconsistent energy. And we work in sprints. So showing up and perhaps recording things when you're in the energy of it and then spacing them out when you can, that might be a useful strategy for some people. You don't like batching because you like to do it in the morning. I don't like batching in the moment, not the morning.
Oh yeah. I was like, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the evening, like really whenever.
But one thing we spoke about before as well was you like it, being able to show up and share yourself was with pre-recorded videos was really useful because you need time alone. Like it's how the technology has given you the opportunity, and all of us as projectors, this chance to be able to spread a message wide without exhausting ourselves and without being able.
I think honestly, I think about that all the time. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I'd figure it out. I think all of us are capable of figuring it out wherever circumstance that we're at. I believe in human resiliency, but I feel fortunate 2023, we're in an age where I can just show up on a video and give a message to thousands of people without having to be in front of thousands of people. Although I have done that before, like I have done public speaking. I can't say that my body is like, this is a wonderful experience. I want to do this again. But yeah, no, if you are a projector and you're thinking, it's amazing. Honestly, I think it's amazing that if you're in line with yourself, you can just show up, present yourself, and then people are going to listen. And the right people are going to listen. And then the people that are not a right fit for you are just going to be like, okay, that video is not for me. And they move on. And it's okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Have you had what's the worst advice that you've had about social media, like showing up online?
I don't know if I'd say worst advice. I think it's like everybody's trying to help everybody with their own perspective of what's right for them. Like I think if a generator's out there probably telling people on how to do social media is like the antithesis of my style. So I wouldn't say it's bad. I think it's just you really need to learn what works for you. And I've found that for myself. Like I said in the beginning, consistency is good. It's also good to try different things that people are suggesting and see if that works for you. Like I think I once read that carousels are really popular. So on Instagram, when you can like swipe through a whole bunch, and those are popular because people are more likely to save those. I don't know if you want me to tell me a whole bunch about like social media tricks, but those are carousels and they're really helpful because people are more likely to save them and reference that information later versus videos. So like on TikTok, Instagram, and even Facebook, the videos don't last a long time, or at least it's said that they don't last a long time because you post it once and then it might get traction for like a week or so and then be gone. However, I will say that doesn't always hold true because like I said, like I have one UTI video and I post about this more often just because for me, it's not super exciting, like how many people want to talk about urinary tract infections, but there's so many people that need it. Anyway, that one video, I think I posted back in October, I still get people watching it and commenting. So TikTok now for the younger generation, so like Gen Z and even millennials, are using it more as a search engine versus Google. So that's one thing for people to know, like whatever you have to offer people will be searching for it and they can still find you on TikTok, which is really good. Instagram, I don't think is as searchable, and then Facebook is searchable. So I actually just moved over to Facebook. I don't know if you've seen me posting at all, but I didn't really post anything on Facebook for several years. And like last week, I just pulled everything. So for me, I'm all about conserving my energy. So I repost a whole bunch of content I've already made. Like, why do I need to keep making more content? And then if I posted a video from October, like maybe people saw it, maybe people didn't. Because even though it says like 1,000 views, 500 of those people could have actually watched the whole thing and they could have forgotten about it. And you can post that video again. Like there's no rule that you don't have to post the video like 3 or 4 times. Like that's totally okay. I started doing it. It's like, if you saw it already, just swipe past it. Who cares? Anyway, so I took all this stuff from Instagram and TikTok and I just started posting it on Facebook. And I think I grew by like 2,000% in a week. Just because it's like the same message, just a different audience. And the audiences, which I think is kind of fun personally, the audience on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok are all a little different.
And again, you've just given us another golden nugget, which is to repurpose content and also in different platforms. And so that's really, really useful.
Other useful things, I guess I'll add to that, is the first 3 seconds are really important, especially on TikTok and Instagram, but very much so on TikTok. If the first 3 seconds of your video are not quick, then you typically lose audience. Again, I don't focus so much on that. Like I don't do hooks. I think sometimes I naturally do that if I ask a question. Sorry, my cat is saying hello to us. Yeah, so but that's something to kind of keep in mind. So typically like we say hi, hello, like people have already kind of swiped past you. So you kind of have to like go into the content, just go into the topic. So if people like look through some of the videos that have done a little bit better on TikTok many times, I'm just kind of jumping into something and telling them about it.
That's super useful. I think everybody will find that's very, very useful. One of the things that I noticed about your content strategy or the types of content that you create, you're an educator as well, you're a teacher. So you teach your audience about heart health, about thyroid health, about various different things. So you've built community and you educate. So you use a variety of topics and posts, but you also do fun things like walking in the park or like teaching people about the sun, and like so that's another thing to think about. It's not all, she uses a range of content types and topics, so it's not all just teaching about medical stuff. It's all things healing, and again, this holistic approach.
Yeah, well, even the walks in the park I consider as medicine, you know, like I'm trying to make sure people realize that, because so much if we think that like a drug is the only thing that's going to help us heal, then we don't do all the things that would help us. But on that note, I remembered you asked me like, what is bad advice? And I wouldn't phrase it bad, but there's so many people telling us to like niche down and only do one thing. Like in the naturopathic community, many people are saying like only treat hormones or only do heart health or only do this. And it's like, that's just the antithesis for me personally. Like, I just don't do that. I do all the things. And many times I attract the patients that other doctors don't know what to do with. So then they come to me, but I can talk about their lung health and their heart health and their urinary function and their hormone. Like I can do all those things. So for me, there was always so much resistance to that. And I always felt stuck for a while. And then there was like a tipping point where I was like, whatever, I do all the things. I'm going to post about heart health today. Tomorrow I'm going to post about gut health and I'm going to live my best life.
Yes.
And that has worked for me. And I'm glad that I didn't listen to someone telling me to only market to one thing. Yeah.
That is such important information. And so many people, even like multi-passionate, manifesting generators who are like meant to be, they get really stuck in this thing, but we do not need to niche. We're all multi-passionate. And, you know, the more you can show up talking about things that that excite you, things that are of interest, and things that are just naturally that come to you, well, you know, insights as a projector as well, people will value. So yeah, that's such an important piece of information. What was I going to say? There was something else I wanted to talk. That's what I wanted to ask. Do you remember the post that went viral?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm always going to remember that one. It was incredibly overwhelming. I'll be honest with that. I mean, I'm definitely an introverted projector. I think more of us are more introverted. I don't know. But it was definitely overwhelming because I think before I'd had a video that had 2.5 million views. I think the highest I'd ever been was 10,000. And yeah, it was like the most random video ever. It was a stitch. So on TikTok, someone else can have a video and then you can make a clip of their video and then have a little response. So I'd stitched that individual's video and I was talking about supplements, you know, and it was just a really quick video. I remember I filmed it like on my couch on a Sunday and I was like, yeah, sure, why not post it? And then it just started gaining more and more traction by the next day. Like, I'll be honest, I didn't have like an anxiety attack, but it's a lot to suddenly have millions of people kind of focusing their energy on you. And it's like, you feel that. So for all of you projectors out there, I don't know how sensitive you are, but you definitely will feel it. But yeah, no, I definitely remember that. And then I had other videos. Like I think I had another one that had like 500,000 and I've had a couple that are, I think I've had a couple that are like 500,000. So yeah, I definitely do remember it. And I'll be honest, there are some people that will really not like your message, and that is good to know. And just because someone doesn't like it doesn't mean that it's a bad message, and it doesn't mean that it's not something that you shouldn't have said. It just means that some people don't resonate with you, and that's okay. And honestly, that's been a really, really valuable experience for me because I am a recovering people pleaser. And it's been really good to have someone say something negative about me or make comments and be like, okay, like if that's what you believe, that's what you believe. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely do remember.
And so on that note as well, so the fifth line is the heretic in traditional human design. And the heretic is here to challenge the status quo along with the three line. And I see that a lot as well in your content. So you might talk about topics such as insurance and why you don't. I
love it. You'll love it when I talk about insurance.
But she's not afraid. She's not afraid to stand for something. And that is so important, you know. I want to very briefly just look at.
I'll get up on my little soapbox and I'll talk about insurance more. Like, no, those are definitely videos that are going to be coming down the pipeline. Anyway, carry on.
Good, because again, it's like, again, having something, well, that's what the fifth line's here for, and the three line. You're here to transform what doesn't work. And the more you do that, the better it is. The more you're doing your role as well to transform and change things. So the fifth line is the heretic in traditional human design, can be projected on as well, where people can have expectations of you that are positive and negative. So it's great that you've decided that you're not going to take that on. It's not your responsibility. And you've got past that. You're not taking it personally. In quantum human design, the fifth line is the visionary leader. You're going to see well, I'll give a link to Dr. Allie's page as well, so you can connect with her, but she is totally embodies the visionary leader. The fifth line is compelling and persuasive, mysterious, and they universalize the whole chart, meaning that they have a massive universal message to bring forward. The third line is here to be experts in what works and what doesn't. And again, that comes up with her challenging the status quo on certain topics. And let's have a look. The purpose I just want to touch on today. The fifth line serves as the karmic mirror for others and to support the healing process through the reflection by teaching the highest potential of humanity possible. And do you resonate?
No, it's like this. I think we've talked about this before. I truly believe that I'm living my soul's purpose. Like, this is what I was meant to do on this planet. And many times when I'm filming a video, I say, like, I am Dr. Williams. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I help people get optimally healthy for a living, and I love my job. And like, I can say that so easily because it's true. Like, you know, it's just so weird to me when, at least in the American cultures, that there's some people that it's like, we're going to work, hate my job, waiting to retire. And for me, it's just like, how do you live your life? You know, and I respect everybody's on a different path and has different priorities. For me, though, it's like, I can't do something I hate. Like, I can't go to work and just not love my job. So, and that affects me, right? Because if I go to work in an energy that is not true to myself, then I'm not going to present the best to my patients. So I think that's also in part why it's so important to me. And then also important to me to conserve my energy. I was thinking about this. I took a walk this morning because I think, you know, that I'm trying to get 10,000 steps a day. So anybody watching this, 10,000 steps a day. And as a doctor, there's so many people that want to connect with me and they want to tell me about their products, and they'll just like send me emails and they'll call my office and be like, hey, trying to connect, like, can you schedule this week? And I'm like, no, like, I just need to protect my energy and conserve that. I went on a tangent, but hopefully that was helpful to somebody.
No, all of this is so important. And, you know, it really is so important. And we even spoke about that another time where you were talking about you used to comment, but it became impossible to comment. So how can I be efficient in you? Because you're like, I want to help the world, and you really, really do. But in the same breath, you have to conserve your energy.
Yeah. I had, so kind of back to the viral reel. So it was overwhelming in part because I get a lot of people that want my help, and I get it. Like, they want my help. And then many people want my help, but they don't want to schedule a visit. And, you know, I had like, it like hurts my heart that I want to be able to help someone, but then also I should get paid for the work that I do, you know? And then I'm also, as a doctor, I can't just give free medical advice. I give information. So much of what I do, I feel like if they took the time to like look through my videos, I walk them through, like, these are the labs to ask your doctor about, or these are the symptoms. If you're having them, you should go back to your doctor and ask about this. And like, if you want to work with me, great, perfect, I'm here. But if you don't want to work with me, that's fine. You have, like, I have this one video where I'm like, here's the baton, like, I'm passing you the baton, you take it, it's your responsibility. And that's been a really big part, I think, of me learning that too, is that I would like to help everybody, but I can't possibly do that. Like, I can't possibly help everybody. And I hope that I can just give them a little bit of information that if they have the own initiative, that they can kind of take that moving forward. But yeah, so when it went viral, there was just thousands, right? And that's overwhelming, the thousands of people asking you for help. And to be able to say, you know, I've done what I can, I'm going to go to sleep, you know?
Yeah, so important to set those personal boundaries, because again, if we exhaust ourselves, and many of us have, and I was in a caring profession as well with education, because I, like you, I'm here to nurture, to educate, to elevate, and I gave to depletion. And so we have to find ways of optimizing the way that we connect with people and nurture our people, but also from overflow, like, so having really, really good boundaries, so that we're not burning ourselves out. And the more we nourish and look after ourselves, the more we have to give.
Yeah, and I try to make, so sometimes when people ask questions that I get a lot, like on TikTok or Instagram, then I'll make a video of it, so that then it's like, I can, you know, if you really want it, the information's all here, or sometimes I'll link it. But yeah, learning boundaries was really important, that I don't have to respond to every message. Not that I'm trying to ignore somebody, but I just can't, you know, when you have thousands of people asking you questions, it's just, you can't function with that much.
And yet we have another golden nugget, because it's a really efficient way of being able to connect with your audience. If people are asking the same question, same as when I was in a classroom, if I was marking 30 books and I saw the same misconception come up, I'm able to just produce a video or teaching on that thing. So that's another thing that I hope people can take away, that when you start building your communities and you start to see common patterns or whatever coming up, or questions, you're able to, rather than responding to every single one, share it as a video and use it as a teachable moment.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if this helps anybody, but I have an autoresponder on Instagram and Facebook. TikTok, nobody can message me except if they like put a message on a video. But yeah, I have an autoresponder. So it's like, hey, this is who I am. This is an automated message. You know, here's where commonly answered questions are. Here's how to do X, Y, and Z. And then with Instagram and Facebook, you can like make your own questions. So like commonly asked questions, and then it has an auto response. And that's been really helpful for me, because it's like, I'm not ignoring you, but these are the commonly asked questions, and then you can go ahead and get your response.
That is fantastic. Another great, efficient, time-saving tool for projectors to use and capitalize on.
And I have 2 assistants, and that changed my life. And they changed my life too. Yeah.
We're going what?
I have 2 assistants, and they changed my life. So now when people call me and stuff like that, I have them to be able to kind of navigate things.
Oh, that's super useful. Brilliant. All right. So before we wrap up, there's a few things that I want to talk about before we go. No, I don't think I need to say that until tomorrow. I'm just looking at your incarnation cross. And one thing that's really interesting is you're the cross of Maya. So you're here to integrate, at the highest expression, you're here to integrate heart knowledge and logical mental information into a language of truth and transformation. And you're here to be able to adapt to the ups and downs of life and balance one's own needs in order to survive. And knowing that is super useful.
It's weird that I like just talked about that. Yeah,
exactly. And that, like, in the highest expression, that's what you're doing. And the other thing about your incarnation cross is, oh, I thought I had both the gates printed, but we'll talk about it again in depth tomorrow. Your design Earth is gate 62, which is organizing thought. And it's about the synergy of heart and mind in communication. Intellect acts in service to the heart, which comes across in all of your messaging, but also not just that, your career path. You're here to solve problems, you're looking for solutions. As the 5 line, we're here to provide practical solutions. But here, a mediator or channel of universal truths as a logical mouthpiece for the abstract. So again, you do that. You take all of this medical knowledge, you take all this information, and you produce something that's easy for people to understand. And, you know, so, and the heart and mind thing is just massive, because if anybody goes and watches her content, you're going to see her heart all over it. So yeah. Now, before we wrap up, you said a few minutes ago that you had a few tips. You had like tips on social media, and you were like, oh, I'm not going to do my tips. But what tips could you leave us with? What tips?
Sure. Yeah, I'm actually like looking at some notes that I made. I was like right before our call. So I think I've touched on a couple things, but number of views and followers don't matter. Like, I know I say that and I have more followers, but I want, if that changes your focus of like, I'm not trying to gain followers, like that's not the mindset to have. It's like, I'm trying to tell people the message, and the people that it's the right message for will see it. And like, that's truly what matters. And that's the energy that I bring to it. And I do mean that. Like, I'm thankful for all the people that choose to follow me. And it also, I'll be honest, for me personally, it feels like a lot of responsibility, because like when I post things that I'm doing, like that I'm taking walks and stuff like that, my patients listen to me, they follow me, like they take that to heart. And I know other people do. And it's also good to know that even if there's some people that are not like liking and interacting with your content, they're still always watching. Like I've had people that have, you know, followed me for several years, and to see a naturopathic doctor, at least in my practice, it is an investment, and they will save money to come see me. So even if they're not necessarily interacting, people are always watching. Yeah, I'm always very fortunate when that happens. I talked a little bit about, you know, guarding your energy and being mindful of that. And I mean, I'll be honest, and I'll talk about like blocking people, but if there's people that are mean and like I've responded and they keep responding in a mean, belligerent way, like I'm going to block you, you know. I think I used to be like, oh, maybe they'll eventually see the light and, you know, be responsive to my message. And I'm like, that's not my place. Maybe there's someone else that says it better. And yeah, because it's kind of like, you have to think, if you were to go into, gosh, how do I give this example? Like a town hall meeting, like if we were all a little community, and that's kind of how I see being on Instagram or being on TikTok, is like, I'm going into the community and I'm saying, hey, I'm like the natural doctor of the community, and this is what I wanted to tell you today. And if there's like that one person that's just like constantly mean to you, like you're not going to hang out with them. So yeah, like I'll just block you.
Good.
Yeah, that's my strategy on there. I speak about what you know and speak about what you talk about all the time. So that's kind of what I do. You know, all the topics that I talk about all the time. It's easy for me. I'm not doing anything complicated. I mean, it can seem complicated because I'm talking about complex medical topics, but that I talk about them all the time. There's a couple videos on like insulin resistance, for example, and I've now started to post them on YouTube because they're longer, but now I can take those links and I can give them to my patients. And then other notes I had was like not listening to what others tell you to do and just being really true to yourself. Although I would say like take feedback, you know, there's some people that are like, oh, that was too long, I didn't watch the whole thing. And I kind of keep that in mind. So my sister, I was talking to her about that the other day, and she's like, oh yeah, like when you posted that video, I didn't watch it. I was like, I love you, but that video's gotten me like 5 patients watched it and they liked it. So she's not my ideal patient, you know, but the person that's going to watch that video. So, you know, keep that in mind. Some videos are going to resonate with some and some are not. Yeah, I think those are based. And then I think you said like the 3 seconds are the most important, especially on TikTok, social media, TikTok, Instagram, stuff like that. Posting more frequently in the beginning is helpful. What other tips do I have? Hashtags, I don't know if they're really helpful at all. Like play around with it. Lately on Instagram, I just don't post with any hashtags. I'm like, whatever happens, happens. Okay, the end. Those are all my notes.
Thank you so much for coming. Now, let me see if there are any questions, because I don't have StreamYard. So let's see what's going on up here. I don't know if we've got any questions. If there are any questions for Dr. Allie or myself, there are no comments. Okay, there's no comments, but I'm going to upload this onto YouTube, so it will be seen. If anybody does watch this on the replay and has questions, just post them and we'll do what we can to give some information and some insights. But anyway, so thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys tune in tomorrow for the case study analysis, which is really exciting and it's really, really useful, because you're going to get to see in a really organized, detailed way, how not only having a career or a skill set or a topic or, you know, a field of expertise is part of it, but then the strategies, the way that her messaging speaks, and how Dr. Allie communicates is is amplified by it being totally aligned with her chart. So we're going to look at centers, we're going to look at profile, we're going to look at type, we're going to look at circuitry, we're going to look at keynotes, empowerment's one of your biggest things. You know, empowering others. I can't remember them all at the top of my head, but yeah, there's just so much to look at. So thank you for your time. As well, so if anybody wants to reach out to connect with your social media or hire you as a naturopathic doctor, I would love you to be my doctor. You're literally the best doctor ever.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun to be here. And yeah, if there's any other comments that come in, you just let me know and then we can get them responded to.
Okay. Oh, and the other thing I would love to see, key takeaways. Like what were the key takeaways? Put them in the comments. It'll be really useful for us to know. All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.